it's Chari here today, and we're going to be making this simple wreath ornament with some May Arts ribbon and Lawn Fawn stamps. So I have some May Arts ribbon that was sent to us from the generous people at May Arts. I also have a small grapevine wreath that I picked up at my local craft store, and I'm going to be using the bows and holly set. I'm going to be using the holly image and the mistletoe image. So I'm going to be coloring these with Copics, so I'm just stamping out the holly and the mistletoe with some black memento ink. And I stamped out more holly than I'm actually going to use. Sometimes I like to do that with multiple images just in case I mess up my coloring. So I'm just going to stamp out the mistletoe. And I'm going to be coloring these with Copic markers. And I'm using R29 lipstick red for the berries. Now I'm not doing any fancy coloring, I'm just doing straight up one shade. And then I'm going to be using the G46 mistletoe color for the mistletoe. So since I'm only using this one color of green, you can do a little bit of shading with your Copic marker this way just by layering the same color. So I've done one layer, and then I'm just going along the bottoms where there might be a shadow, and I'm just putting another layer of that exact same color just to create a little shading. To keep it simple, I'm going to color the holly leaves in the same color. So here I've cut out my pieces, and I'm just going to lay this on the scrap piece of white paper just so I can move them out of the way easily. And I'm going to be using these liquid pearls, just pearl colored, just to add a little interest to the mistletoe berries. I haven't used it in a while, so it took a little bit to get it going. I'm just going to do a dot on each little berry. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. And now I'm going to be taking this shimmery white ribbon from May Arts, and I'm going to be wrapping it around the wreath. And instead of starting at the end, I'm going to kind of start in the middle somewhere, because when I'm done, this is going to be my hanger. I'm going to pull the two pieces together at the end to be my hanger. So there you see I'm trying to figure out where I kind of want the top to be. And I'm just going to wrap it around all the way around the wreath. So now I have the two pieces coming together at the top. One's on the front and one's on the back. And I'm just going to take these two and tie them into a knot to hold them in place. So I didn't even use any glue to put this ribbon on this wreath. I'm just going to do a little adjusting so that the ribbon stays nice and wide there at the top. And then I'm going to finish tying my knot. And get it nice and tight. So now that I have these two tails here, I can just trim them off to the same length and tie them together at the top into a knot to create the hanger for my ornament. Just like that. So now I'm going to use these wired bead ribbon stuff here that they sent us, and I'm going to be making these little clusters of berries. So you can use some wire cutters to cut these apart, or if you have these Tim Holtz scissors, they work well as well. So I'm just going to trim it off right at the bead. So essentially I have these little sort of wire picks of beads. So I'm going to cluster 3 together. I'm just going to hold them, and then I'm just going to twist them around to make them sort of one little cluster that has one stick coming off of it. And you can touch the tips with a piece of sandpaper like I did there, just to kind of make that little wire that might still be sticking out from the bead a little less sharp. Now I'm going to take a paper piercing tool, and I just have a extra thick craft foam piece that I use as my piercing mat, and I'm just poking a hole in the middle of the berries of each of these holly pieces. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take these little berry picks that we've made here that have 3 berries and sort of one wire coming out the back since they're twisted together, and I'm just going to stick it through the hole. So this makes some nice dimensional berries on this piece of holly, and it covers up those berries of the stamp. And I kind of went off camera here, but I just put a dab of glossy accents underneath the berries to hold them in place, and I'm just going to set those upside down like that to dry. I have this nice fun red shiny string here. And I'm going to use it to tie a ribbon or tie a bow around the top, just to kind of finish off the top a little bit. Again, I haven't used any glue to put this ribbon on, so even if you didn't use the stamped images and you just did the little wreaths with the ribbon as like a nice little tie onto a gift, I've done this without using any glue, so you could do it really fast. Now I'm going to trim off the excess wire that's on the back of these berry and holly, and you can see I'm just sort of arranging where I want them to be. And I'm going to use tacky glue for this part, because tacky glue is tacky, and it'll kind of stay in place while it dries, a lot easier than if I use glossy accents. You could also use hot glue for this. So I just went around and I placed each of the little holly clusters on the front. And the tacky glue will also dry clear, so if a little bit of it's showing, like you can see there, it's not really a big deal. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put a nice big glob of this tacky glue on the back. And I'm putting it right at the ribbon, and I'm going to take this piece of mistletoe, and I'm sort of sliding it under the ribbon, but getting it up in that glue. And it's going to want to move at first, but if you set it aside and prop it in the right way to dry, it'll be fine. So you're going to see me flip it over to leave to dry, but I also grabbed a little small clear block to set under there to hold that mistletoe up while it dries. And there you have a lovely finished ornament. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.